Hello, and welcome to the Marvel Squizzlematic universe. I had a video film that was my application for head of the MCU. That would be what I would do going onward, and it just didn't work. I didn't focus right. The video, it's gone. And I didn't want to refilm that video because I spent a lot of time filming it the first time, and it just kind of, it burnt me out, and I didn't like it. So after almost a year later, probably, here is me completely just rebooting Marvel. Like, if I had the rights to the comics now, this is how I would have done it. No, I haven't looked at this in a hot minute, so I don't remember what this is about. The first thing that's released in my Marvel universe is the first thing released in my Marvel universe is a Shield show centered around Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Hawkeye recruiting the Avengers. The first episode, they reflect on Captain America's legacy as they work on pulling him from the ice. The story helps them put together something crucial: their current enemy, the Winter Soldier's connection to Steve Rogers. In the wake of this, they're alerted of a second, more urgent threat: the Black Widow. Hawkeye is sent to assassinate her, while someone else takes care of the Winter Soldier. So it starts out. They're in the mines, they're digging, they're like, Captain America. Kind of like the first Captain America movie, right? But this is just a television episode, so they're kind of like weaving in little bits with Captain America, and then they're like, we have this threat of the Winter Soldier, and then it's like, the Winter Soldier has a connection to Steve Rogers. What? And then it's like, the Winter Soldier, but guys, there's this other assassin being sent. It's not just the Winter Soldier, there's also the Black Widow. So Hawkeye is sent after the Black Widow, and Episode 2, Hawkeye is reluctant to kill Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff. She ends up telling him she wants out. She wants to leave the Red Room. Together, they wait out the forces of the Red Room and get her safely to S.H.I.E.L.D. During all this, Hawkeye is asking questions to figure out the connection between her and the Winter Soldier. And when they're talking about the Winter Soldier, it shows clips of none other than Hank Pym's Ant-Man and Janet Van Dyne's Wasp keeping Capsicle safe from the Winter Soldier. Episode 3, Black Widow is taken into S.H.I.E.L.D. custody, and the Winter Soldier vanishes. Fury believes there's no way it's a coincidence, and she must be here to kill Cap. So Nick Fury's like, nuh-uh, you're not a good guy. You got yourself arrested so you can assassinate Captain America. But then she passes round after round of questioning on a lie detector before Fury realizes it just does not work on her. Captain America is freed. He's out of the ice. And he's going through crazy culture shock. So there's only one thing Maria Hill knows to do. Call in Peggy Carter. Okay, episode 3, not much is happening in that episode. I don't know why I wrote it like that. It'll get worked out in post, don't you worry. When I reboot the MCU, the Marvel Squizzlematic universe, episode 4. To test if Black Widow wants to kill Cap, they're put in a cell together with the Ant-Man and the Wasp shrunk down tiny, nearby, ready to intervene. She's quickly vetted when she and Cap just instantly become best friends, and maybe a little more. Black Widow asks to speak to Fury. I know you're interested in superhumans. The Red Room had their own list of assets. Hulk, Winter Soldier, Red Guardian, and something else smeared out. What they all have in common is a form of serum making them strong. So Black Widow's like, hey, I'll prove to you that I'm on your side. Here's all of Red Room's superhero assets. And then that is what leads Hawkeye trains Captain America. I think that would be so funny in episode 5 there's like this arc of Hawkeye like being like, okay buddy, I know you just got out of the ice, and I know you're older, more experienced than me, but like we gotta get those legs working again. Come on, throw that shield, let's go. I think that would be such a fun dynamic to explore, since we didn't get like enough of that kind of stuff in the Avengers. That's one of the things that everyone misses. Hawkeye trains Captain America while Maria Hill and Black Widow go talk to Bruce Banner, aka the Hulk. Hank Pym makes a stretchy suit for them to give to the Hulk. That's how Hulk's pants don't rip. Surprise, surprise. The episode ends with a news headline about Iron Man. So basically there's a show about Nick Fury collecting the Avengers. It starts with Nick Fury, Maria Hill, and Hawkeye. Captain America and Black Widow Ant-Man and the Wasp, Black Widow, Captain America are the next ones to join. Because my idea was to stick more closely to the comic book first Avengers, which is Hank Pym, Janet Van Dyne, Tony Stark, Hulk. I guess I threw in Black Widow in there too. So I guess I didn't stay true to the original event. I was doing like a kind of all over the place, like a little group of Avengers. Because I think Black Widow and Hawkeye don't have to be part of the original team up. They're supposed to be like down in S.H.I.E.L.D. so we can get those like good like Hydra and Winter Soldier plot lines going like from the beginning. And then, like, this show's gonna go on to be, like, they run into Thor right as they have almost all these guys, and then, like, Loki comes down, and then there's the Avengers movie. The first Avengers where they team up against Loki. And then, that's all. I didn't have much from there, but I did spend way too much time making the, like, most ridiculous casts ever. Because we have Ryan Gosling as Hank Pym. Because it would be like a younger Hank Pym. I don't know why that's what I landed on. And then Natalie Portman as Janet Van Dyne. I think I just picked two good actors that are in action movies. And then I just kind of stole from the DCU a whole bunch and was like Ben Affleck's Iron Man and Jessica Chastain's Pepper Potts. Donald Glover's War Machine. Oh. And I really wanted a different route for Nick Fury. And him in the comics, he's white. But I don't want to get people mad that, like, I whitewash Nick Fury because he's been known as black for a while now. Like, I want to balance out the scales. I want the representation. And I think what would bring the representation in the best, funniest way is to make Happy Hogan be played by Terry Crews. I think that is the best casting ever. Like, you can say what you will about this video, about the plot holes, about the bad casting, but Terry Crews as Happy Hogan would be funny. And then then this is there's some random casting that is absolutely unhinged. Because I was really uncertain what direction to go in this video. There was a version of this video that was just... And that's why I would be the perfect Tony Stark. I mean, look at this. The dark hair, the bright eyes, the charisma. I'm gonna shoot up innocent children. Come on. I am Iron Man. Am I wrong? No, I'm not wrong. Look at this ego. Come on. You want to see me as Iron Man. And then I was going to go through and be every single... You want to see me. You want to see me as Nicholas Fury. You want to see me as Nick Fury. I'm going to gather the Avengers together with my one eye. Come on, look at this. I know the council's made a decision, but given that it's a stupid decision, I've elected to ignore it. You know, come on, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna be that guy. I'm also going to be Captain America. Get hurt, hurt him back. Get killed, walk it off. I can do this all day. I would be perfect. I have all the costumes. You want to know what I have the most costumes of? Spider-Man. You know you want to see me as Spider-Man. Your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Ah, Mr. Stark, I don't feel too good. With great power comes great responsibility. Huh. Come on, MJ. Let's dance. I don't know what that was. I can do my... Okay. So, on to the actual casting that I have listed here. This is when it gets crazy because I really, I was like, maybe Mark Wahlberg as Nick Fury, and then I was like, no. Let's be honest, I just want to cast who I want to cast. I don't really care if it's good or not. I care that it's entertaining. So it's William Zabka now. It's William Zabka. It is Johnny Lawrence himself. Tanner Buchanan, Leo Howard, or Kit Connors, Captain America, or my almost brother-in-law, Jake. I kind of hate this. Why did I write Jack Griffo's Bucky Barnes? I was like, you know what? Max from the Thundermans, he's gonna be Bucky. I wanted it to be, I wanted Tanner to be Captain America and Leo Howard to be Bucky Barnes, but then when you look at them side by side, they're identical. Like, no one would be able to tell the difference. So, that's not gonna work out. And then, this was, my idea for Hawkeye was just throwing Josh Hutcherson, because he's familiar with that sort of aspect of bow and arrow. He hasn't done it, but he's familiar with it. It'd be fun. He's kind of the right build. He's kind of, you know, he's got the look for a younger Hawkeye. But then the idea hit me that we could just cast Jennifer Lawrence as Hawkeye. And then cast Josh Hutcherson as Black Widow. And let the two of them just do their thing. I think it would work. But in all honesty, I do have Jenna Ortega's name being thrown around for Black Widow. Just because I think she kind of has the energy. She might not have quite the look, but she has the energy. And I think for, like, young, like, fresh out of the Red Room Natasha, because she can play the kind of stoic really well, and I think doing the kind of, like, bratty, sarcastic, stoic, and extremely smart, I think she could pull it off. And then, like, the flirty, I think it would just work. And then Brianna Venskis is Maria Hill. Basically, it's just this girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She plays Piper in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And I think she would just fit in well as Maria Hill. And then, for Peggy Carter, I have Helena Bonham Carter, because this has to be an older Peggy Carter, because my idea is that Steve is transported to present day, and they call in Peggy Carter to help with the culture shock, so she's a lot older than he is. So this is like Peggy Carter fully aged, and he did not. So, yeah, Helena Bonham Carter. And then the Avengers, there were two options for the Hulk, really. I couldn't think of, my first thought was Tobey Maguire would be really funny. To just be like, you know what? Because he plays the, like, mean version of Spider-Man so well, and he's kind of nerdy, and I think he could do it. But then my second thought was, oh my gosh, Peter Dinklage. And then I just had the thought, for Thor, there's just one obvious answer. You need someone stoic who can play the sort of, Shakespeare. So my thought was Morgan Freeman. Okay, my actual thought was Theo James. And then my second thought was, or my almost brother-in-law, Jake. And then I just landed on Morgan Freeman and was like, he actually just blew everyone out of the water. Because it's Morgan Freeman. Are you gonna say no? I don't think so. And then we have, then there's just a list of other random actors that I want to see in my MCU, who I would cast in my MCU. One thing I will say is I would like to see Marvel just cast, like, actors and not just the most famous people they can think of. I'm a big fan of, like, open casting, just casting people. Not being like, oh, who has the biggest name? You know who has the biggest name? Probably some, like, guy named, like, Horatio Valentino Corona Aventano Lee Garfunkel Jr. You know what I mean? If you want a big name, you want to know my full name? I can make my name a lot longer. I can legally change my name to something long enough that you'll be forced to hire me because I have a big name. I don't know if some of these were for Spider-Man or... Oh, Joe Keery and Jace Norman. I think that's probably in a younger version of them as, like, a Spider-Man, sort of. Paris Baruchel. I don't know how you say that. I think it's because she was the girl in Mighty Med that was, like... I remember, like, years ago thinking that performance was just stellar. So it was very Disney Channel, but I think she could make the jump. David Harbour, obviously, like, he's already in the MCU, but you could do better with that. William Zabka, who I'm going to give Nick Fury to. Leo Howard, who... possible Captain America. And then Andy Samberg. I think that was my idea... if we ever needed a Scott Lang, like, young, like a different version of Scott Lang. But I don't think him and Ryan Gosling, I don't think that makes sense. Ryan Gosling's not old enough to, like, pass the mantle to Andy Samberg, but I just like Andy Samberg's just funny. Then Liz Gillies, I think she rocks out. She would be cool, because she has the very, like, tough, like, she has the tough girl thing going. And Adam Driver. I didn't have casting for Loki. This was kind of half-baked. But in my version of the MCU, Black Widow would be a super soldier. Like, a version of a super soldier. So it makes sense that she keeps up with the rest of the Avengers eventually. There would be very, like... The Hydra plot would keep going underneath everything. Because I love that in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., say what you will about the fact that they always bring back Hydra. That's kind of the point of Hydra, is that Hydra just keeps coming back. And I would love to bring more of that in. Start with the really grounded stuff. Start with the Hydra plot. Start with just S.H.I.E.L.D., the Avengers. And then it's like, okay, after this show, we work our way up to Avengers with Loki. But then we can stay in that sort of realm where sometimes they fight bigger guys and have a whole saga pre-Infinity War, you know, like a whole ground basis saga, and then introduce more of your kind of Doctor Strange and Thanos and stuff way later on. Also just having less projects, like have a S.H.I.E.L.D. show going that introduces new characters instead of 50 million movies, because one of the biggest flaws of the MCU right now is they introduce new characters before they circle back to anyone. It's like, okay, here's Todd, here's Jessica, here's Marshall, here's Vanessa. You're supposed to watch each of their movies and then not hear about any of them for like 5 years. And it's like, that's boring. No, we want to see people interact. That is the biggest fan culture of the MCU, is the, like, 2010s Tumblr era when they were making everyone just be best friends. Because they wanted to see the Avengers actually be found family, and we weren't given that. We were given them being kind of friends sometimes, and then fighting each other, which I love the idea of Civil War. That would obviously happen at some point in my Avengers. Maybe a little different, but it would probably happen. But I love the idea of having actual character interactions, and I think with a long-standing television series that, like, carries through, I think then you get everyone interacting with everyone. Like, I want to see Hawkeye and Captain America train together. I want to see Black Widow recruiting Hulk. I want to see just more character interactions, because right now in the MCU, everyone wants to see Hawkeye, everyone wants to see Kate Bishop and Spider-Man team up. Everyone wants to see Yelena in the mix with those guys. Everyone wants to see the characters work together and have fun dynamics. But you don't really get that when it's just solo movie, team-up movie so big, half of the characters don't know the other half exist. We want more grounded dynamics. We want the actual found family. The other thing I would do is I would give you Robin Rogers. I would give you Black Widow and Captain America falling in love, a slow burn, will they, won't they, strong bond, the tension they have, but it ends with their kid. It ends with James Rogers. It ends with them happily ever after. Also, Black Widow did train with Bucky in the Red Room, and Bucky gets his cat or whatever, and Iron Man has a kid that becomes Iron Kid, and Pepper Potts is there, and Happy Hogan, and they're all best friends, and they live in Avengers Tower for an amount of time. And the S.H.I.E.L.D. show, or there's an Avengers Tower show, there's a show that focuses on just that, just some life and some missions and some training. And when Falcon's introduced, they're training him, and when Wanda's introduced, they're training her, and they're all training in Avengers Tower and recruiting more Avengers and fighting little mercenaries, and then also Hydra, and then also any alien threat that comes down. And then we get a sword introduction eventually, and I think they just could have done better well-rounding the MCU. Right now, Captain America, Brave New World, it wasn't great, but it was a breath of fresh air because we've been getting bombarded with the multiverse. And the multiverse, once you do it, it's done. Now nothing has stakes, no characters are dead. The only thing you can do to make it better is to take it back. Also, get real Spider-Man. There's an episode of S.H.I.E.L.D. where it's Spider-Man's origin story, and then S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of has their eye on him, and he's like, I'm just a guy. They can't catch him or something, or he kind of evades them, or someone's like, oh, he's too young. Natasha's like, whoa, buddy, I get recruiting soldiers, but that's a kid. And I know maybe he would be, and then it's this whole maybe he would be more protected within S.H.I.E.L.D., but maybe it would give him too much responsibility. So then it just turns into, sometimes people help him out. We get the trio of Hulk and Wolverine and Spider-Man. We get Hulk and Spider-Man. Hulk and Spider-Man in the comics are always interacting in such funny ways, because Spider-Man can calm down the Hulk by telling him jokes. The two of those guys having a fun banter, having a cool thing going. Iconic, fun, awesome. Spider-Man just being street level, and Hawkeye gets sent in to help him, but they don't want to actually recruit him. Cool, fun, great. That's what I would give you in the Marvel Squizzlematic universe. I might play a character, you never know. But if I do, I guarantee you it'll be the best character in the whole universe because I'm that good. Thank you for watching. If you think Hollywood needs saved, subscribe to The Savior, Olivia Squizzle. Enjoy your day. Bye.